Hi, I'm Dr. Jordan. I help high-achieving women who feel unfulfilled and disconnected create more intimacy and joy in their personal lives. We've been taught that doing it all will lead to fulfillment, but it's draining your energy and killing your intimacy. I'm a pleasure and power dynamics expert, author, and naturopathic doctor. I teach women how to reignite their pleasure, reclaim their feminine power, and feel deeply desired and supported, all while staying successful in their careers. Hello, superwomen, smart men, super people. We asked on Instagram, who is unfulfilled in their relationship? I love being able to connect with you all on my polls and in my DMs. It's the best thing that we ever started doing is hearing from you guys. So back to the point. 70% of you said that you are unfulfilled in your relationship. 70% of my followers are women. And, we are speaking about the experience of superwomen. But for the overgiving men, my super men listening, this will also apply to you. And of my male followers, you are also reporting being unfulfilled in your relationship. So this is a big problem. 70% of people feeling unfulfilled. It's scary. It's kind of like 1 in 2 women having sexual dysfunction. They're probably related if we break it down. So this is why I'm going to do a 3-part series on superwomen in unfulfilled relationships. Before we go any further, how do I define an unfulfilled relationship or an unfulfilling relationship? We could boil it down to feeling alone in a relationship. And what does that look like? It looks like not having your needs met, feeling unsupported, unseen, unheard, wanting more, but not knowing how to ask, feeling stuck in a pattern or rut. So we like to tell ourselves, and we actually like to gaslight ourselves. And I see superwomen do it on the daily. If they work with me, I'm calling them out and we are finding solutions. But we love to tell ourselves, we love to make the excuses. It will get better when, and we fill in the blank, when the kids are back to school, after this quarter, after this next big launch. An excuse that allows us to bury our heads in the sand and not do anything about the reality of the situation. But the fact is that being in an unfulfilled relationship is actually making us sick. It's harming our productivity. It's keeping us from our goals. And although we also like to gaslight ourselves and tell ourselves that staying together is better, and hear me out, I believe in love. I am a romantic. Love should win at all costs, and we should try everything on our side of the street to clean up a relationship before we walk away. But regardless of where we're at, we need to start practicing some radical honesty here because it is affecting our health. And we'll talk more about that in part 2 of this series. So excuses. Oh, he's having a really stressful time at work right now. Or she's depressed about her weight. We love to use excuses to say that we will fix this in the future, but not address it. So this is a symptom of a much bigger problem. And I want to look at some facts. So the divorce rate we know is about half, depending on what you read, depending on age, country, etc. But we're looking at about half of all marriages end in divorce. And for the other half, those that stay together or those that are currently in relationship, who is fulfilled, truly happy in their partnership, having great sex, feeling connected, supported, and truthfully grateful to have a partner to do this one life with. And yes, there are 2 sides of the street and things aren't always equal and things happen. So people might be sick for a time and not able to put in their share, or busy at work for a time and not able to commit, but those should be seasons. Another fact, 1 in 2 women suffers from sexual dysfunction globally. This is lacking desire to be intimate, inability to get aroused and stay aroused. So we have trouble in the moment. We're thinking of our to-do list, difficulty orgasming or not being able to orgasm, and pain with sex. Also, y'all are not having sex. Those of you that are, it seems to be what I call checkbox sex. Doing the same old thing, like maintenance sex. You know what works to get your partner off. It is a routine. First we do this, then we do this, then we do that. And it's usually on like the same night of the week. And you secretly long for the old days when there was that connection and passion and spark. Another fact, antidepressant rates are rising. Women are 2 times as likely to be prescribed an antidepressant than men. What's going on here? Are we more depressed? Is it the invisible workload? That could be a 3-part series in and of itself. Okay, and another fact. More research showing single women are happier than those in relationship. And that chapped my ass for about the last year while I was pretzeling myself to fix my relationship. And now that I am single, I get it. So there's so much there, like expectations that are put on women, superwomen who have a tendency to overfunction and fix and overgive in a relationship at the expense of our own needs, to the point that we are sick and with a partner not willing to do the same. So what's really the problem here? Because you are superwomen. If you are listening, you are smart, you are capable, you have a kind heart. You usually run a company. You're a professional. You have some success. You handle shit and you get what you want. You have a lot. The house, the car, the bag, the vacations. You might even have the vacation home, but you have very little pleasure and joy to show for it. And you're almost ashamed to say it out loud. I had a feminine mentorship applicant that I talked to 2 days ago, and she almost whispered. She was just in Italy, just finished, and they moved into their newly renovated house. And she was like, I have what I said I wanted, and I'm still not happy. Something's missing. I'm exhausted, and every day feels like a bit of a struggle. And then what's the flip side of this? Because this is my work, is to navigate this pile of shit. So why is it that women that participate in the feminine mentorship have the opposite experience? Better sex, more connection, feeling fulfilled and desired by their partners. That's like 75% of them. And then the other 30% that realize they want better, or they come into it because they are newly separated or continue or considering separating, and they want to do that work on themselves to fully clean their side of the street. If they're single, they want to do this work now so that when they meet their partner, they're not in this push-pull, tug-of-war, attachment style bullshit, and they can just give and receive healthy love. But regardless if we are healing a relationship or breaking one down in a healthy manner, they are more fulfilled than those of you answering. And they are the few usually on my IG polls that are fulfilled. We're sold a bill of goods that the ending of a relationship is a failure, and it really could be the beginning. Want to read you something that one of the feminine mentorship members wrote me. She said, Dr. Jordan's mentorship program was a game changer for me. I used to seek validation my whole life, but this program helped me to stop that. Now I know who I am, I feel more confident, and I have better relationships, especially in the bedroom. I've learned it's okay to take a breather when I'm burnt out. When I embrace my true self, I not only desire things for myself, but I actually get them. My marriage is stronger now. We communicate better. Insecurities have faded, and I understand both my needs and my husband's. Plus, the mentorship gave me a safe space to open up and make strong female friendships like never before. I'm getting a little emotional reading that, but like the path of fulfillment, that's what's amazing. Those changes can happen when we are fulfilled. And it is so sad to me that 70% of you are not. So the mentorship is now open for enrollment. I want you to join me and 15 other superwomen for our 12-month group program. Official opening is Friday, November 3rd. And in fact, 3 spots have already been filled. So there are 12 open. I've already filled 3 from the waitlist. They were just too perfect, too ready to do this work to wait. So if my work speaks to you, if this episode speaks to you, if you are acknowledging, yes, I am unfulfilled and it is time to do something about it, now is the time. Several of you wrote on your applications. I heard your podcast. I saw your Instagram post, and it was like you were speaking to me. If that is you and you are ready to invest in yourself to change this problem, change this multi-generational problem, and have it impact your health, your intimate relationships, your well-being, and even your wealth. Because that's the thing. When we are burnt out, we're not on our game. We spend so much energy just trying to get through the day, but more on that in part 2 of this series. You saw the footage of our Arizona retreat. If you want to join a community of amazing women, we have 2 virtual calls per month. We learn feminine skills to add to our repertoire of superwoman, boss babe energy. And we have high-level conversations about solutions to these issues. And we leave the calls feeling invigorated. We also have 2 in-person retreats. And I cannot say enough about the women just like you. The support, the friendship, the healing is truly on another level. And these women have done masterminds before. They have invested in personal development. And the feedback that I always get is like, this is insane. Nothing has ever made it all come together like this. I've never been able to implement and see the changes so quickly. So women are reconnecting their relationships that were hanging on by a thread. They're squirting for the first time, having the best sex of their lives. We go on a journey for you to ask for, feel, and receive more pleasure. Some women are realizing that they need and deserve more pleasure, and they are on a journey to find that from grounded strength and internal knowing, not more struggle, not more doing, not more adding to your to-do list. And this is foreign for superwomen because we know how to excel, achieve, work hard. If you want to feel energized, connected, desired in 2024, and you know deep down this is your work to do, apply. We will link the application in the show notes, and you could visit www.thepleasurecollective.com/feminine mentorship. You're going to fill out the application, and then we are going to get on a call. And really, I want you to apply when you know this work is for you and you are ready to invest and ready to make change. If you are not ready right now or can't afford it, send me a DM. I have other options if this program isn't for you, but that you can get started doing the work. And if it is, I cannot wait to connect and tell you more about it. So, this is an internal knowing thing. You know you want to do this. You probably even wanted to do it last year and made some excuses. So let's not make 2024 a repeat of 2023. Fill out an application. Let's chat. Promise you will not regret it. So, unfulfillment. I'm going to try and break these things down for you in this podcast series. Why are we unfulfilled? What is the actual impact that it's having? Because the impact is huge on our health, on our productivity, on our relationships. What can we do about it? And how can we introduce these concepts to our partner? Yes, superwomen, I'm going to do another For the Men episode. It was highly requested by the ladies in the feminine mentorship. So, 2 things that I have learned about unfulfilling relationships in working with over 2,000 superwomen. Something that I missed and wasn't even really aware that it was happening until it happened to me, that I could see it so crystal clear. It's like, when you're at the beach and you don't realize that your sunglasses are filthy until you take them off. This is just like what it describes to me. Like, you're just so in the environment, immersed in the experience, you don't realize that there is sand and salt on your glasses until you take them off and go to put them back on. That is exactly what this whole experience has felt like to me. So what do I want you to know? Number 1, superwomen are prone to unfulfilling relationships. And there's almost a little bit of shame to it because we have success in so many areas, but we struggle here. We struggle with intimate partnership. What sets us up to have an unfulfilling relationship? There are a few reasons. We have qualities that those with unhealed trauma, addicts, abusers look for. We're caring and compassionate. We're hardworking. We don't give up on people easily. We think, if I work hard enough, try enough, apply the right effort, say it in the right way, I can fix this. We are people pleasers. We are honest and believe that other people are honest too. We're caregivers or have a tendency to overgive at the expense of ourselves. We are great at tolerating. It's like the pain that we try and ignore. We keep pushing until we are actually knocked out, sick in bed, till our body eventually just says no. We have a tendency to blame ourselves for others' negative emotions, but we don't take responsibility for the positive ones. So essentially, that is patriarchal conditioning that we are receptacles for the shit in our relationships, in our workplace, as parents. So these qualities, while they make us great CEOs, partners, mothers, friends, in healthy dynamics, they also make us targets for underfunctioning and unfulfilling relationships. And it is a statistical guarantee that this is happening to you or women that are close to you. Women that smile every day, but are so unfulfilled and feel so alone, they don't know where to start. And I talked about this. It takes energy to pretend to be okay. And this is part of what burns you out. So here's some examples. These are from my Instagram DMs. My husband doesn't work. I work full time. We have help around the house 2 days a week. Now that the kids are back to school over the summer, he has multiple hours freed up per day. I want him to take over some of the household chores. I have to do so much reminding or it doesn't get done. It leads to fights. I don't really feel supported or like I have an equal. Another message. We both work full time. I shoulder the majority of the invisible workload. He helps with a few things like grass and laundry. However, when I ask for extra help, it is like he is put out because he thinks that these things are my role. So just some examples of superwomen in unfulfilling relationships. And there's a lot here. We are talking gender roles. We are talking societal expectations. We are talking relationship roles that our parents modeled. The fact that we get in relationship with these expectations and don't actually have a conversation about equal division of workload, of like the actual tasks and the invisible workload. It's like it doesn't exist. So that just is automatically, generally falling on the superwoman's plate. Now, these things worked when men were the primary wage earners and women stayed at home, but they do not work anymore. That is why so many women are experiencing feminine burnout. More to come in episode 2 of this series. And the second thing that I want you to know from what I've learned from working with over 2,000 superwomen, healing their relationships or helping them exit and find true love. There is a fine line between unfulfilling, toxic, and abusive. If you have not listened to episode 110 of the Pleasure Principles podcast, where I discuss this, and we can continue to unpack it. So quickly, for our purposes here, unfulfilling relationships is when we feel alone, not seen, not supported, like something's missing. And generally, there's underlying issues here, like not knowing what we desire, not feeling worthy. Sometimes our superwomen tendencies get in our own way here. But when we can figure out what we desire, so women will work with me. They'll figure out what they desire, figure out how to ask for it and how to receive it. Like we will fully get out of our own way. And their relationships are amazing. It's like the message that I read from one of the feminine mentorship graduates. Then we have toxic relationships. And I'm going to deep dive into that on part 2. But quickly, toxic relationships are, and one more thing about unfulfilling relationships. So lots of women work with me in this state. They want more. They want better connection, better communication, better sex. And nothing is wrong with that. I absolutely love working with those clients. And then a lot of my clients are in borderline toxic relationships. This is where our health starts to get impacted, our work performance, how we show up. Like we don't love how we're showing up as parents or in the relationship. So there's some more like negative impacts going on. And then that even closely can border on abuse. And you can listen to episode 110 for more on that. So our superwoman traits make it easy for us to survive on crumbs. We are great at ignoring pain, emotional pain, physical pain. We're great at distracting ourselves with our favorite numbing behaviors, superwoman style, like renovating your kitchen, buying a new house, going on a very fancy vacation when we are unfulfilled instead of dealing with the actual problem. But the issue is, wherever you go, there you are. So you are on the amazing vacation and you are still unfulfilled. Or maybe things are a bit better, but then you come home to the same pile of shit in your living room. So we ignore the pain until it takes us out. I talk about that. I call it the life cycle of a superwoman. And you can visit, we'll put it in the show notes, but I did a blog on it, the stages, how we go around and around until like we tolerate until we crash. And then we're repeating that cycle again. So this makes it hard for us to get out of unfulfilling and toxic relationships or even shift the dynamic so it's healthy for everyone to stay. So it's hard to leave when we're emotionally invested. We have children. Sometimes we don't even want to rock the boat to change these things. And another example is how many superwomen do you know, or maybe this even speaks to you, like you're stuck in a toxic, like maybe really massive corporate position or job, like that it is negatively impacting your health, but you can't leave. You can't seem to get out, even though you desire to. So when we stay, even when it is detrimental to our health, we experience feminine burnout. And more on this in part 2 of this series. And if you're like, oh my goodness, this is me, listen to my series on feminine burnout. We will put the link in the podcast show notes. I had a woman apply for the feminine mentorship and she's like, everything that you said in the feminine burnout series is me. I'm Alinda. So she's like, I feel equally called out and ready to do something about this. So love that. Superwomen. We have unresolved trauma. So when we do not feel safe, we try to fix. And often this bypasses connection. And it's bypassing the connection that we so desperately seek. And we seek security in ourselves. We get very independent. I can do this all on my own. And I have tears for all the women who feel so alone in their relationships, not just emotionally, but physically, monetarily. Yeah. Or they're like carrying the weight of supporting everybody. We put on our capes and we overfunction to meet the needs of others, our families, our teams, the I can do it all with a smile mentality. And if we can't do it all, we feel like a failure. But that's what keeps us stuck in this cycle. And it keeps us stuck being unfulfilled. We are in our masculine, and it makes it hard for us to experience true intimacy. Because when we have our walls up and we do it all ourselves, and this is a protection mechanism that we learned most likely in childhood, but when those walls are up, people can't get in. They don't see the true us. They don't see all of us. And that is where true intimacy, connection, and really, really good sex lies. Or I see a lot of superwomen settling for partners that are not their equals. They're below their potential. They are addicts. They have unresolved trauma. So we're the mother, the CEO that does most of the planning, caretaking, executing. More to come on this in this series. And we have our own trauma and unresolved wounds to work through. That is why you would stay in a relationship with somebody that is not your equal or that is below your potential. So some of this is our work to do. If you are a high achieving superwoman serious about prioritizing her pleasure in 2024, if you know something is not working, if you have had so much success in areas of your life, but not with pleasure, joy, connection, energy, if you're ready to take action and invest in yourself, I encourage you to apply for the Feminine Mentorship 2024. 3 spots are already gone, and I have just opened the doors. Cannot wait to connect with you, make sure the program is a fit, and if it isn't, direct you in the right direction. So head to thepleasurecollective.com/feminine mentorship to fill out an application. Cannot wait to connect and look forward to seeing you back for part 2 of this series on unfulfilling relationships. Have a great week, everybody. If you like what you heard in this episode, leave me a rating. Your support helps me get discovered by more women like you. Together, we can change the conversation around women's sexual health and pleasure for you, your partners, and generations to come.